So till here we had seen in the last class. Today we will just continue with the next thing. This is the last topic of your chapter 2. So with this, we come to an end for chapter 2. So from Monday, 2 weeks, that is next 4 classes, Purnadatta ma'am will be taking. That is, she will be starting from chapter 3. Okay. So we'll just start with this. So this is mainly with respect to your things, that is data similarity and dissimilarity, how to measure it, what is the significance rather. So in most of the data mining applications, especially with respect to these three, clustering, outlier analysis, and nearest neighbor classification, it's like the main thing we need to know is how alike or unalike, or how similar or dissimilar the objects are respect to each other. So for example, it's like if we consider a cluster of customer objects, so we can get similar things. It's like if there are two clusters, for example, cluster 1 and cluster 2 with respect to customers only. So maybe if some customer objects are present in this cluster and say some x, y, z are in this cluster, a, b, c are in this cluster. So you can tell that x, y, z are similar to each other. So only they are in one cluster. A, B, C are similar to each other. So they are in one cluster. X, Y, Z and A, B, C are dissimilar to each other. So only they are in different clusters. So this dissimilarity might be with respect to the income. This might be high income people. This might be low income people. Or with respect to area of residence. This might be in urban areas. This might be in rural areas. Again, with respect to age, this might be all less than 20 or maybe less than 30. This might be all greater than 50. So there are dissimilarity between intercluster. But when you consider intra-cluster, there might be very similar in nature. Okay. So again, this is just the definition. So what is a cluster? If anyone asks, it's a collection of data objects such that objects within a cluster, that is intra-cluster objects, are similar. And when you consider intercluster, it is dissimilar. And outlier, what do you mean by outlier? It's like, as I told you, if there are few elements, say numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 till 100, and there is one number that is something like this. This might be outlier because these are very small numbers. This is something huge which won't fit in this cluster at all. This might be in different cluster. All this might be in single cluster. So this might be outlier for this. Okay. So that is with respect to your uh, outlier analysis. Okay. So the next is, we will see what do you mean by uh, means these are the two data structures we'll be using. But before that, uh, what do you mean by similarity measure? There is something called similarity measure. So if two objects, say I and j, will return a value 0, it's not equal to 0, will return a value 0 if the objects are unlike, that they are different, if they are different. Okay. So it's like if the value is higher the value, greater the similarity between these two objects. Okay. If these two objects return a value 1, which means that these two are completely similar or maybe highly identical. So it's like this is with respect to similarity measure. Similarity between two objects I and j. If the similarity measure returns 0, which means that these two are totally different. 0 to 1. Higher the value, greater the similarity. 1 means these both are identical. Okay. So it is something like this. This is with respect to similarity. There is something called dissimilarity measure. So dissimilarity measure is obviously similarity ka opposite dissimilarity. So everything will be ulta here. If you are doing this or considering dissimilarity measure, it will be 0, or this measure will return 0 if the two objects are identical. If it will return 1 if these two objects are extremely different from each other. So it's exact opposite of this. Okay. So it's like you can make a statement like higher the similarity value, greater the similarity between the objects. With respect to dissimilarity, you can make higher the dissimilarity value, more dissimilar the two objects. Okay. So these two are exact opposite of each other, even in the name as well as the definition and other things with respect to this. Okay. So there are two data structures which we'll be using in these two applications, or either to measure similarity or dissimilarity. One is data matrix and the other is dissimilarity matrix. So data matrix stores the data objects, and dissimilarity matrix, it usually stores the dissimilarity values for a pair of objects. So here we'll see one by one. So this is example for data matrix, this particular thing. So as you can see, this particular data just stores n data objects in form of a relational table. So it is basically n by p matrix. So each there are n rows and p attributes, n objects and p attributes, and each row corresponds to one single object. Okay. So this is data matrix, and next is dissimilarity matrix. Here it's like, it's, as you can see, it stores a collection of proximities for each pair of n objects. Okay. Where this dij, if you consider this as I and this as j, dij is called the dissimilarity between objects I and j. Okay. So in general, this particular thing dij is a non-negative number. Okay. So when it is close to 0, when objects are highly dissimilar, or maybe it's like similar, more the value of this particular thing, or dissimilarity, more the dissimilarity value, more the differ. For example, d, this particular part, it is g 1 on 1, d 1 of 1, this particular position. So that is equal to 0, because item 1, if j I is equal to j I is equal to j is equal to 1, which means that these both are same items. So dissimilarity is 0, which means that they are extremely same. So here this position is d2 of 2. This is d3 of 3. Okay. So you, and one more thing, one more property of this is dij equal to dji. Okay. So this is with respect to the dissimilarity matrix. I mean, how do you represent the dissimilarity matrix? This is with respect to your data matrix. And what is the relationship between your similarity and dissimilarity, or how to represent similarity in terms of dissimilarity. So there is an equation. So as you can see, it is, as I told you, it is exact opposite. So you can tell similarity of Ij is equal to 1 minus dissimilarity of Ij. So you can express the measures of similarity as a function of measures of dissimilarity, where your SIM Ij is your similarity between objects Ij, and D of Ij is dissimilarity between objects I and j. So the next, each types of attributes. We have seen different types of attributes: nominal, ordinal, category, binary, etc. So we'll see one by one. So this is with respect to your nominal attributes. So if you remember, your nominal attribute can take two or more states. So for example, we had taken, I guess, hair color example. It can be that particular attribute. Hair color is a nominal attribute which can take multiple values like black, white, gray, red, etc. So it's like they have taken a particular example. It's like number of states for any given nominal attribute. Let it be m, and these states can be either letters, symbols, or a set of integers such as 1 to m, whatever. Because we have taken m uh, as the number of states, it will be from 1 to m. But again, one thing you have to remember with the nominal attributes is, even though they are integers, it is just used for data handling. You cannot perform any operations on it. Maybe 1 represents black, 2 represents white hair, 3 represents brown hair. So you can't do anything with respect to, you cannot make 1 minus 2 or white minus black hair. So it doesn't have any meaning in it. It's just used for data handling, and it also doesn't represent any ordering. So whether you write what is that, black hair first, or you write what is that, red hair first, it doesn't matter. It is just the values. So basically, this integers are just used for data handling purposes, and they do not represent any specific ordering. That you have to remember. So it's like this particular thing deals with, gives one formula which tells you how to calculate dissimilarity between the objects which are described by your nominal attributes. So the dissimilarity equation is given by Dij P minus M divided by P. So where M is the number of matches. So the number of matches is, what I mean is the number of attributes for which I and J are same. I is equal to J, and P represents the total number of attributes which are describing that particular object. So this is how you calculate your this is the equation which calculates or which computes your dissimilarity between two objects I and j, where m is the number of matches, or rather the number of attributes for which I and j are same, or rather they are in the same state. P represents the total number of attributes describing the objects, describing that particular objects. So there is one example. Okay. So in this table, we have one object identifier. So this is the object identifier, this particular column. And there is one attribute, test1, which is nominal. Okay. So dissimilarity matrix, if you ask to write or calculate dissimilarity between or calculate the dissimilarity between the object identifier, one and two, or rather draw a dissimilarity matrix for this particular table. So dissimilarity matrix is represented by this particular thing. So there are 4 rows. So dissimilarity matrix will be something like this. 1 1 obviously will be 0. D of 2 1, D of 3 1, D of 4 1. D of 2 2 will be 0. Here it will be D of 3 2. D of 3 3 will be 0. Here D of 4 2. D of 4 3. D of 4 4 will be 0. This will be the dissimilarity matrix for this particular table. So in that previous example, in this, what would be P? On this table, what would be P? Again, P, I will repeat. P is the total number of attributes which describing that particular object. How many attributes are there?
Two.
How many attributes are there in this particular table? Straightforward. So this is the object identifier. How many objects are there? Or rather, what is the how many attributes are there in this PPT or in the screen, which is visible to you? Anyone? Want someone to speak up? How many attributes are there?
One nominal attributes.
How many? How much?
One nominal attribute is.
Just one. There is only one attribute. I'm not getting why people are not answering. I guess I should start calling names. If they are not there, which means that they have logged in and they are not listening, so no point in giving the attendance. I can straight away remove them from the teams. Anyways, they are not listening. Why to just log in for the sake of attendance? I guess from next class or whenever I take the next class, I will be doing that. Whenever a question I will ask, I will randomly call one name. If that person responds within 2 minutes, which means that he is there. If it's not responding, which means that it's not listening. No point in keeping that person in the meeting. Okay. So it's like so this is a dissimilarity matrix, you write. You have to see anyways this 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 4 are 0. You do not see that, but remaining you have to see. 2 1. What is 2 1? 2 1 is this and this. Are they similar or dissimilar?
Dissimilar.
A and B.
They are dissimilar.
They are dissimilar because A is different from B. That is quite obvious. So here in this particular part, you will replace that by 1. If they are same, it is 0. If they are dissimilar, it is 1. So again 3 1. 3 1 is this 2. Again that is similar. You replace it by 1. 4 1. Again these two are the same, A and A. Okay. So you replace this particular thing by 0. So you do the same thing. 0 1 and 1. Okay. Then here it will be 0 and 1. Here it will be 0. Okay. So this is the dissimilarity matrix for this table given one single attribute. Okay. So from this you can see that except this particular row, that is except 4 1, all are dissimilar to each other. Only 4 1 is similar. So this is here. This is how you construct a dissimilarity matrix for given scenario. Okay. So the next is again with respect to this, as I told you, similarity is 1 minus dissimilarity. The same thing if you apply here, it will be similarity of ij is equal to 1 minus dissimilarity. Dissimilarity equation you have written here, that is p minus m divided by p. So that will give you m by p. So dissimilarity is p minus m by p. Similarity will be 1 minus that is m by p. So next is proximity measures for binary attributes. So you need to, I mean, it's quite obvious that binary attribute has only two states, that is 0 and 1. In most cases, 0 means the attribute is absent, 1 means the attribute is present. So given the attribute, if the attribute is something like smoker, that is the attribute which describes a patient. If the value is 1, indicates the patient smokes. If the value is 0, indicates that patient do not. Okay. This is just background of your binary attributes. And how can we calculate the dissimilarity between two binary attributes? One example is given here. Again, you need to know how to calculate all this. So for that, we have this a 2 cross 2 contingency table for the binary attribute I and j. So this particular Q represents the number of attributes that is equal to 1 for both the objects, that is I and j. R is the number of attributes that is equal to 1 for object I and equal to 0 for object j. All this you have to know. Next is yes. Yes is the number of attributes that is equal to 0 for object I and 1 for object j. And T is something that is, I mean, the total number of attributes that is equal to 0 for both the objects. And P represents the total number of attributes that is equal to Q plus R plus S plus T. P represents the total number of attributes. And we had also discussed two types of binary attributes that you have to remember here: symmetric and asymmetric. Does anyone remember what is symmetric and asymmetric with respect to this binary attributes? What do you mean by symmetric binary attributes and what is dissimilar, I mean, asymmetric binary attributes?
Sir, in symmetric binary attributes, both the states have equal weightage, and in asymmetric,
Exactly. Or I had given one example also. Gender. Gender is a symmetric binary attribute. Male and female, both are equal. You can't tell male is important or more interesting, or female is more interesting, or more male is more important, is more important. Both are equally important for any given thing. Asymmetric is something different. It's like one value is more important than the other. For example, it's like some disease, you are undertaking test for some disease. Positivity, if the result is positive, that is of more concern than zero, that is absent. You are going for corona test. Positive, if you turn corona positive, that is of more concern than negative. So one particular value is getting more weightage or more interest than the other class. So those things are called your asymmetric binary attributes. Okay. So with this background, your dissimilarity between the objects when it is uh, given by your symmetric binary attributes. If objects I and j are symmetric binary attributes, then your dissimilarity between those two things is calculated by this equation. Dij is r plus s divided by q plus r plus s plus t. Okay. So this is your dissimilarity between objects I and j when they are symmetric binary attributes. So when they are asymmetric binary attributes, as I told you, which is more important here? 1. The value 1 is more important. If the value is 0, I mean, if something is not present, that might be not too important. Or maybe if it is negative, if the test comes negative, you are fine with it. You are going for any test for that matter, say sugar, BP, HIV, corona, Ebola, whatever it is. Negative is not that important. It's fine, which means that you need not worry. Only if it is positive, you have to worry. So in this cases, if both are 0, you can ignore that particular value. So both are 0 is t. When both objects I and j are t. So this equation holds good for that symmetric binary attributes. If you are considering asymmetric binary attributes, you are ignoring something which is not important. That is negative part. Negative is 0. So we will be ignoring t here. So for dissimilarity, asymmetric, it will be r plus s divided by q plus r plus s. Okay. This is for calculating dissimilarity for asymmetric binary attributes. Where there is no t, you will be ignoring the t part because t is 0 for both. Okay. So the next thing, or okay, before going to this, the same thing. Difference. How can you write similarity in terms of dissimilarity? The same thing. Okay. As far as your asymmetric binary this thing is concerned, I told you d ij is r plus s divided by q plus r plus s. This is dissimilarity. So similarity can be calculated for the same two objects ij by doing 1 minus dij. So if you do this, you will get q by q plus r plus yes. So this is the similarity. So this particular thing, this particular equation is also called as Jaccard coefficient. So given a particular scenario, if you are asked to calculate Jaccard coefficient of that particular scenario, you need to apply this particular equation. Either calculate dissimilarity and do 1 minus that, or this particular equation q by q plus r plus s. Okay, so this similarity here is called Jaccard coefficient. So with this, we'll try to solve one problem. So this is a patient record. This table gives you a patient record, which contains the attributes like name, gender, fever, cough, and different tests. So for this asymmetric values, say let this y and p be set to 1, which means that it is present. Obviously, as I told you, in binary, 1 means present or yes, no means not present, that is 0. Here for fever and cough, you can tell y is yes, n is no. For all the remaining tests, p is present or positive, n is negative. So y and p can be replaced by 1, and no and negative can be replaced by 0. So suppose you are asked to calculate distance between each pair, or rather dissimilarity between each pair. How do you do that? First of all, you have to just erase this part. All these problems you need to know how to solve given any scenario, not just the thing which is solved in class. So this particular thing I told, replace y and p by 1 and n by 0. So we will be considering only values which are asymmetric in nature. Symmetric is only this particular gender, because both are equally important. Remaining things are asymmetric. So first we will replace all the values only for those which are asymmetric in nature. See, if you can see, fever, all are y, y and y. Consider for Jack, Jim and Mary, all are y, y, y. So this is Jack, Jim, Mary. So as far as fever is concerned, it is y, 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 that is 1, 1, 1. Cough, it is 0, 1, 0. Test, it is test 1. It is 1, 0, 1. Next test 2, it is 1, 1, 1. Test 3, it is 1, sorry, 0, 0, 0. Test 2, it is 0, 0, 0. Test 3, it is 0, 0, 1. Test 4, it's again 0, 0, 0. So 1, 0, 1 is over. Next it is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 and 0, 0, 0. Okay. Now this is ready with you. Now you have to calculate dissimilarity or distance between each of this, or how similar or dissimilar they are. Okay. So for each of this pair, that is dissimilarity between Jack and Jim.
So we can ignore gender, like we won't put it in the table.
No. See, we are concerned, as I told you, this we are calculating this only for asymmetric attributes, not symmetric ones. Here, symmetric is gender, so we
Okay,
are
sir.
ignoring it. The
Okay,
gender
sir.
attribute itself we are ignoring. We are concerned dissimilarity with respect to asymmetric attributes. Here, asymmetric is fever, cough, test 1, test 2, test 3, and test 4. So only
Okay,
for
sir.
this we are calculating dissimilarity between each pair. You have to calculate dissimilarity between each thing. Jack, Jim, Jack and Mary, Jim and Mary. You have to calculate between all the pairs, each pair rather. This is the equation. Dissimilarity R plus S divided by Q plus R plus S. Again, you need to know what is R, what is Q, and what is S in this. So this I had told here. So Q is where if two objects are given, Q is where both are 1. You can see for both objects it is 1. R is something where it is 1 for object I. You can see R is something where it is 1 for object I, 0 for the second object. 1 and 0. S is 0 and 1, where it is 0 for first object. You can see here S is 0 for the first object, that is object I, 1 for the second object, that is object J. So this is all you need. T is also it's there, but it's not required. Since you're considering asymmetric, I told you can ignore T. So based on this, you have to see how many attributes are there between, for if you consider the first thing, for which, I mean, first thing is Jack and Jim, these two rows. What is the value of R? How many attributes are there for which, for the first attribute it is 1, the second attribute is 0. This is
1.
not there, this is not there, this is there. For the first attribute it is 1, the second attribute is 0. Again, these three is not there. So total number of attributes is 1. R is 1. Plus, you have to see S. S is for the first attribute it is 0, second attribute it is 1. So how many attributes are there? Only one, this part. The second column. So S is 1. What is Q? Q is both are 1. Both I and J are 1. So once you consider Jack and Jim, this part. Only there is only one case where both are coming 1. So Q is 1. R and S you have already calculated in the top. So it is 1 plus 1. So it will be 2 by 3. That is approximately equal to 0.67. Same thing you have to calculate for Jack and Mary. R plus S divided by Q plus R plus S. Here R is, for the first attribute it is 1. Second attribute is 0. Jack and Mary, first and the third column. First and the third row. So you have to see which is, for which column there is 1 in the first for the first attribute and 0 in the second attribute. It is 1 and 1, nothing is there. 0 and 0, no. 1 and 1, no. 0, 0, no. 0 and 1, no. We need 1 and 0. 0, 0, no. Basically, R is 0. There are no cases where for Jack it is 1 and for Mary it is 0. There are 0 cases. So R will be 0 here. Again, yes is 0 and 1. So here it is 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0 and 1. You find this case. So there is one case, 0 plus 1. Q is 1, 1. Correct? Both are 1 with respect to Jack and Mary. There are two cases. this and this. So this will be 2. And R and S you have already calculated here 0 plus 1. So it will be 1 divided by 3. That is almost equal to 0.33. Same thing, calculate for the same thing. Do R plus S divided by Q plus R plus S. You will get something like 1 plus 2 divided by 1 plus 1 plus 2. So it will be somewhere around 3 divided by 5. So that is 0.75. So for Jack and Jim, you got 0.67. For Jack and Mary, you got 0.33. For Jim
Shouldn't
and
it be
Mary,
3
you
by
got
4?
0.75. So based on this measurements, you can suggest that Jim and Mary, that is the case 3, Jim and Mary are extremely unlikely to have the same disease, because this is your dissimilarity measurement which you are calculating, and dissimilarity is highest. The value you have got is highest. Dissimilarity is highest means similarity is very low. So you can conclude that Jim and Mary are unlikely to have similar disease. So out of these 3 pairs, Jack and Mary, that is this part, you have got dissimilarity value very less, which means that similarity is very high. Similarity is 1 minus 0.33. So similarity will become very high. So there are high chances that Jack and Mary with lowest dissimilarity value would be having a disease which is very similar. So this is how you calculate your dissimilarity for binary attributes. Okay. So the next is dissimilarity with respect to numeric data. So numeric data, there are 3 different measurements: Euclidean distance, Manhattan distance, Minkowski distance, and apart from this, there is one more, which is called supremum distance. So you need to know how to calculate each of this. Even there is something called, you will come across K-means algorithm. This is one of the clustering algorithms which you will be doing in theory, class and problems, and in lab you will be implementing the program for a given data set. Okay. So there you need to calculate distances between 2 objects, based on which you will decide if the distance is too much or above a threshold. Those 2 objects will be in 2 different clusters. If the distance between those 2 is within the threshold, it will be in the same cluster. So k-means can be using any of these distances. So based on the question, if the question is calculate k-means for the below set of data points using Euclidean distance, or using Manhattan distance, or using Minkowski, or using Superman, it can be anything. So you should be in a position to calculate using any of these distances. Okay. So we'll go one by one. What is Euclidean distance? Okay. So it is the most popular and most simplest of all distance measures. So consider there is 2 points, data points. Okay. I is equal to xi1, xi2 till xip. There are p points, and same thing for j. xj1, xj2 till xjp. So it's like these 2 are the objects which are described by p number of numeric attributes. You are asked to calculate Euclidean distance between objects I and j. So Euclidean distance is given by square root of x I1 minus x j1 whole square plus x I2 minus x j2 the whole square, so on till x IP minus x jp the whole square. Okay. This is how we calculate. It's like difference between each point, corresponding points in each of the objects. Square root of this. It's like square root of sum of squares of differences between each points in the object or each value of the object. Okay. So this is how you calculate Euclidean distance between ij. Okay. Now Manhattan, the equation which you will be using to calculate Manhattan distance is mod of xi1 minus xj1 plus mod of xi2 minus xj2 plus till the last number or the last value xip minus xjp. So this is Euclidean distance. This is here Manhattan distance. So there's both of these distances. We'll come to Minkowski later. I mean, after some time. But when you consider these two distances, that is Euclidean and Manhattan, it should definitely follow few mathematical properties. And this again is very important. I will just mention this. There are 4 properties which this should definitely obey or satisfy. First mathematical property is non-negativity. Second is identity of indecibles. Next is symmetry. Fourth is triangular inequality. So first is non-negativity, which means that dij should be greater than equal to 0. Distance is obviously a non-negative number. Next is identity of indiscernibles, which means that same objects between I and I is equal to 0. Distance of an object to itself, distance of an object to itself is 0. That is what you call in mathematics as identity of indiscernibles. Okay. Next is symmetry. Dij is equal to dji. It's a symmetric function. Fourth is triangular inequality. That is dij is less than equal to dik plus dkj. So if you want to put this in words, going directly from objects I to j in a space is no more than going from I to k and then k to j. Okay. So it's like going directly from two objects, that is from objects I to object j in a space is definitely or should not be more than making a detour over any other object that is k. So these are the 4 mathematical properties which your Euclidean and Manhattan should definitely satisfy. Non-negativity, your that is distance of object to itself is 0, then it is symmetric, and finally this triangular inequality. These 4 mathematical properties, these 2 uh, distance measures or dissimilarity with respect to numeric thing, that is your Euclidean and Manhattan should definitely satisfy. So any measure which satisfies these 4 mathematical properties are known as a metric. So you need to, I mean, if someone asks what is a metric, or why do we call Euclidean distance and Manhattan distance as metric, you need to, I mean, you should be in a position to tell, because they follow all this mathematical properties. So since it is satisfying all the mathematical properties, we call the distance measure as metric. Okay. So we'll solve one problem before we move forward. So this is the figure. X1 is 1, 2, X2 is 3, 5. You are asked to calculate Euclidean and Manhattan distance both. Euclidean distance, as I told you, 3, 5 is there, or rather 1, 2 is there, and 3, 5. Because 1, 2 is X1, 3, 5 is X2. Euclidean distance is square root of 1 minus 3 the whole square plus 2 minus 5 the whole square. That is 2 square root of 2 square plus 3 square. So you will approximately end up getting 3.61. What is the Manhattan distance between x1 and x2? Manhattan distance. This is Manhattan distance formula. Just like I mean, just the mod of difference of each. So this is equivalent distance. What is Manhattan distance for the same points x1 and x2? Can someone calculate and tell me what could it be?
5.
5, because it is mod of 1 minus 3 plus mod of 2 minus 5. So it is 2 plus 3, 5. So the next is Minkowski distance. Minkowski, I mean, it's just a generalization of both of this Euclidean and Manhattan. Okay. So if you want to define this Minkowski distance, is given by Dij. H to, it is not square root, it is h root of mod xi1 minus xj1 to the power of h plus same thing xi2 minus xj2 mod to the power of h until the last number, that is p. Okay. So where this h is a real number and it is greater than equal to 1. Okay, h is a real number which is greater than equal to 1, and this particular Minkowski distance, this equation in most of the if you see the mathematical literature, it's also known as LP norm. So LP norm as well as Minkowski distance means the same thing. And one statement I made is like Minkowski distance is generalization of Euclidean and Manhattan distances. So somehow you should be able to derive both Euclidean and Manhattan using Minkowski. So when you consider h is equal to 1, you will get Manhattan distance. When you consider h is equal to 2, you will get Euclidean distance. Okay. Hope is clear. Minkowski is the generalization of Euclidean and Manhattan, which is given by h root of mod of difference between the objects to the power of h plus mod of difference between the two to the power of h until the last, that is pth attribute, where h is a real number such that h is greater than or equal to 1. When you substitute h is equal to 1, you will get Manhattan distance. When you substitute h is equal to 2, you will get Euclidean distance. The next thing is, as I told you, supermum distance. So with respect to this distance, this is supermum is also called as L max or L infinity norm. Okay. So the supermum distance is also known as L max or L infinity norm. Again, this is a generalization. This particular distance measure is a generalization of your Minkowski. When h tends to infinity. So in simple words, it is max of a particular attribute. See, it's like if you want to compute, we first find the attribute f that gives the maximum difference in the values between the two objects. So that is the supermum distance. Okay. So this, for this attribute from f2, the attribute is f. So out of all the p attributes or p values, the maximum difference ixf minus xif minus xjf. So these are the two attributes here. You have to find the maximum difference between this. What is the maximum difference? Again, between each values which are present correspondingly. What is the maximum difference? 1 minus 3 is one difference. 2 minus 5 is one difference. So what is the maximum difference you get?
3.
Mod. Again, you can just take mod here. Or rather, you can make 3 minus 1 and 5 minus 2. 3 minus 1 is 1. 5 minus 2 is 3. The maximum difference you get is 3. So if you are asked to find out supermum distance for this 2 points, supermum distance is 5 minus 2, that is 3. Okay. Euclidean distance is 3.61. Manhattan distance is 5 and supermum distance is 3. And again, what is the difference between each of this? Euclidean, you know, Manhattan, you know. Minkowski is generalization of these two. In this equation, in Minkowski distance equation, if you substitute h as 1, you get Euclidean. H as 2, no, h as 1 you get Manhattan, and h as 2 you get Euclidean in Minkowski. And the supermum is a generalization of this Minkowski when h tends to infinity. And in simple words, it is the maximum difference between the mod of two attributes. So whichever you get, if you are trying to find the distance between these two, so the difference is 3 minus 1, or you can, it's same as the mod of 1 minus 3. 1 minus 3, that is 2. Yeah. And 2 minus 5, that is 3. So 3 is the maximum difference between these two objects. So you get, that is the supermum distance between these two. And there is one more equation, that is, this simple thing, weighted Euclidean distance. When some weight is attached, or if you want to give importance to a particular attribute, you attach a weight to it. More the weight, more the important the attribute is. So weighted nuclear this thing can also be calculated. For that, it is the same thing. The equation remains the same. Only thing is, one weight will be attached. W1. Here it is W2 till Wm. If there are m weights attached, you will multiply the weight with the, this equation. So you will be calculating something known as weighted Euclidean distance. And this is not just for Euclidean distance, you can calculate for other distance also. If you include weight, considered weight, it will become weighted Euclidean distance. If you consider weight here, it will be weighted Manhattan distance, and similar for other distance measure also. So apart from this, in your textbook, if you see, there are two things: proximity measure for ordinal attributes and dissimilarity measure for mixed type. Ordinal attributes and mixed type. These two, I just want you to go through. Steps are there in textbook one by one. I just want everyone to go through as a self-study topic and get back to me if you have any doubts. Self-study doesn't mean you have to leave. You have to ignore. It doesn't mean you have to ignore. It's just that steps are given straightforward. So I just want you to put some minimal efforts, maybe 1% of effort, and try to understand what's happening there. Or rather, how to calculate it when ordinal attributes is given, mixed type attribute is given. Okay. So the next we'll see one small thing, that is the last measure, how to calculate cosine similarity. Again, this is important. How to calculate cosine similarity given anything, any scenario, you should be able to, or you should be in a position to calculate your cosine similarity. Okay. So cosine similarity is usually its main similarity when you are studying something with respect to information retrieval. Okay. There is something called not page ranking. TF-IDF. There is something called TF-IDF in your information retrieval. Okay. That is term frequency inverse document frequency. We need not go in this detail, but I will just tell you what you mean by term frequency. This everything with respect to document retrieval. And document we are considering just textual documents. Okay. So as you all know, each of this document can be represented by what you known as term frequency. Okay. So for example, in this figure, you can see that document 1, it consists of 5 instances of a particular term that is known as team, which means that the word team or the text team is appearing 5 times in document 1 and 3 times in document 2, and this term team is not at all appearing in document 3 and 4. So you can tell the term frequency of team with respect to document 1 is 5. And once you consider all this, the entire row, it becomes term frequency vector for that particular document. Okay, so this term frequency vector, once you consider the entire thing, it becomes the document vector. In most of the cases, it is, or typically it is sparse, because some frequency might appear in one of the items, one of the documents, it might not appear in most of the documents. So in most cases, it is sparse matrix. Sparse matrix means you will have the value 0 in most of the entries. See, more than numbers, you can find zeros here. Okay. So this entire thing is considered is called as document vector or your term frequency vector, where each term frequency vector is just like you will be considering a set of documents, and for each document you are trying to find out how many times or what is the frequency of each of the words in that document. So for this given something like this, you can find out cosine similarity to tell or compare documents or to rank documents given a particular query. The query is again in terms of a text. So you can tell how similar a document is respect to each other. Or how many words match in document 1 and 2, or rather any two documents you're using, which which you are using to calculate the cosine similarity. So we'll calculate the cosine similarity 1. So basically, if someone asks what is cosine similarity, it is nothing but measure of similarity that can be used to compare documents. Like how similar the documents are, or it can also be used to rank a document with respect to a particular given query. So we will see what is the equation for the calculating the cosine similarity. Say there are two vectors x and y which you want to compare. The cosine similarity between x and y is product of the two vectors x dot y divided by mod of xy, where this x is the Euclidean norm of the vector x, which is given by x1 till xp, and it is calculated by x1 square, x2 square till x square. Okay, so this is called a Euclidean norm of vector x, which is given by x1 to xp, and this value of double mod of x is calculated by x1 square plus x2 square till xp. The same holds for y. Okay, so it's like this measure, cosine similarity measure, computes the cosine angle between the vectors x and y. Okay. So a cosine value of 0 means that your two vectors are 90 degrees to each other and have no match, which means that these documents are dissimilar to each other. Okay. If this is with respect to 0, if the cosine similarity is equal to 1 or closer to 1, the angle, this is 90 degrees, the angle keeps on reducing. So which means that there is a greater similarity between the two documents. Hope is clear. If the cosine value is 0, you will get 90 degrees, which means that the values, these two documents are extremely dissimilar to each other. As this value comes closer to 1, the angle reduces here. Equal to 1 means it's a straight line. So the angle reduces. So it's like the closer the cosine value to 1, smaller the angle, which means that greater the match between the two vectors. So we'll solve one particular case with respect to this, or we will see that it's like using the same table. We'll try to solve similarity between your document 1 and 2. So similarly, you should be able to, you should be in a position to calculate this thing for any of the given scenarios, any two document vectors. We will see, consider this as x and this as y. Document 1 as x and document 2 as y. So your vector x will be 5, 0, the entire row here. 5, 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0. And y will be the next thing, next row. 3, 0, 2, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. So for this, you have to calculate the cosine similarity between document 1 and 2. So you apply the same thing, x dot y divided by Euclidean norm of x and Euclidean norm of y. So x dot y is product of each of this, that is 5 into 3 plus 0 into 0 plus 3 into 0 no 5 into 3, 0 into 0, 3 into 2, 0 into 0 plus 2 into 1 plus 0 into 1. So you do the entire thing, find the product of each of the corresponding elements in the vector for the entire vector. Okay, it's like same thing, 5 into 3, 0 into 0, 3 into 2 plus everything plus here, 0 into 0 plus 2 into 1 plus 0 into 1 plus 0 into 0 plus 2 into 1 plus 0 into 0 plus 0 into 1. Okay. If you do all this, you will be end up getting 25. So x dot y is 25. Now you need to calculate Euclidean thing for x and Euclidean thing for y. Okay. That's as I told you, square root of squares of each of the values. 5 square plus 0 square plus 3 square plus 0 square plus 2 square plus 0 square plus 0 square plus 2 square plus 0 square plus 0 square. That is for document x. You might end up getting 6.48 if you do it. Same thing for y. Y is document 2. Square root of 3 square plus 0 square plus 2 square and so on till the end. You will end up getting 4.12. So when you substitute each of this in this equation, you will get 25 divided by 6.48 into 4.12. So similarity between x and y, you will get 0.94. So you can consider this two documents, 1 and 2 are extremely similar to each other because cosine similarity you got the highest value or it is extremely close to 1. So you can tell that these two documents are extremely similar to each other. So you can calculate the strings for remaining documents also between 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4 and see which documents are similar to each other and which documents are not similar to each other. So one small part is, one small modification to this equation is maybe when the values are binary in nature. If the attributes are binary valued, then this cosine similarity can be viewed or interpreted in terms of how many features are shared. So the cosine similarity when the attributes are binary valued can be interpreted in terms of shared features or attributes. For example, xi, that is the object x possesses this ith value if xi is equal to 1. Consider this. Okay. Then x dot y, that is the numerator part of this equation. When you consider this attribute or binary attributes, again I'll just repeat, when the attributes are binary valued, the cosine similarity function can be interpreted in terms of shared features or attributes. Suppose an object, say object x, possesses ith attribute, then obviously xi equal to 1, which means that ith attribute is present in this object x. That feature is present. Then this x dot y is the number of attributes that is shared by both x and y. Okay, so this is how to interpret your cosine similarity when using a binary attribute. X and y, or the numerator part, gives you the number of attributes which are shared between both x and y, and the denominator part gives you the geometric mean of number of attributes which are possessed by x and the number which are possessed by attribute y, object y. Okay. So numerator is the number of attributes which are shared by both x and y. Denominator is the geometric mean of number of objects or number of attributes which are there in x and the number of attributes which are there in y. Okay. So you can tell similarity of x and y when binary attribute is considered, binary valued attribute is considered. It is a measure of relative possession of shared attributes. Measure of relative possession of shared attributes. And this cosine attributes can also be modified in a simple way. We include one more information, that is just right. Uh, So this simple variation, if you want to vary this particular cosine value for the situation which I just told, that is the binary value attribute, uh, which is, which in general means measure of relative position of common attributes. You can verify it by writing like similarity between x, y. Cosine similarity is x dot y divided by x plus x dot product of two vectors x dot product of two vector y minus x dot y. So this is a variation of cosine similarity when you are considering binary valued attributes. Okay, so this is nothing but the ratio of number of attributes which are shared by x and y to the number of attributes possessed by x or y. Okay, hope it's clear. Ratio of number of attributes shared by x and y to the number of attributes possessed by x or y. Okay. So this function, this entire function is given a name called as Tanimoto coefficient or Tanimoto distance. This thing, this function is given a name called as Tanimoto coefficient or Tanimoto distance, which is most frequently used in your IR and also in biological taxonomy. So with this, we come to an end of chapter 2. From next Monday, Purnata ma'am will be starting chapter 3 for next 15 days. So if you have any doubts in chapter 1 and 2, you can approach me anytime or during the contact hours. But please let me know beforehand if you're coming.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So we talked about outliers, and we said in the last class that anything which is beyond 1.5 into IQR is said to be outliers. But sir, in the exam,
No. That is only when you're trying to plot blocks plot.
so sir, how do we know? Because there were a lot of values which were beyond the range of 1.5 into IQR, which we calculated in last class, but we did not consider them as outliers. So how do we decide?
See, first you have to calculate the IQR, that is Q3 minus Q1.
Q1.
You will get some value.
Yes, sir.
Calculate 1.5 of that value. You will get
Yes,
some
sir.
value x.
Yes, sir.
1.5 of maybe something like 20. You will get 30.
Yes, sir.
All the values which are above 30
Hmm.
or greater than 30 will be considered as your outliers.
But sir, in the exam,
See, there is a highest number, there is a lowest number. In between, you will calculate Q1, Q2, and Q3. Based on this Q1, Q3, Q3, you will get IQR or IRQ. That is the
Interquartile range.
interquartile range.
Hmm.
So if something is beyond that limit from the highest value, beyond that IQR limit, you consider that as outliers value. But you will understand, but you will maybe I will solve one particular problem where you will be drawing the block plot for a given scenario. With that, you will understand better.
So because in the problem that we did in the last class, so even the value of Q2 and Q3, that was also like beyond the outlier value.
In the block plot example, which we did.
Yes, sir. Sir, because it was coming out to be 60 and our Q2 I think was 80 and Q3 was something like 120 or something like that. So sir, so everything is an outlier then because 1.5 into IQR was 60 only.
No, in that particular example, one second. Highest value was
So highest value was somewhere around 150, but the 1.5 into IQR was coming out to be 60, and Q2 was I think Q2 was 60 and Q3 was 80, sir.
Q2 was 80, I guess, and Q3 was 100.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So answer, but I like 1.5 into IQR was much lower.
No. It's like see, 100 is the Q3, right? 100 is the Q3. So Q3 plus IQR was 40.
Yes, sir.
So anything above 140.
So we have to add Q3 value also because
Wait, maybe wait. Just wait. I will. Maybe this. There is one particular problem which I will solve in next class. Maybe you'll get to know better way how to consider a particular thing as outlier or not. Maybe one example I will give using which I will plot the block plot. Then you will get a better idea. Is
okay,
that
sir.
fine?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir.
One problem I will solve based between how to plot block plot so that you will be clear of what to consider as outlier and what not to consider. Any other doubts? I just wanted to show something with respect to lab also, but I guess time's up now. I think for batch 2 and 3, I've already told that is for the next most of the batches except batch 5 have completed this thing. Your